Hello, good morning from here. You are welcome to Saint of Roses this morning. I am your host, Rosemary Onoyiwaka Ilebua, and today is going to be a very exciting session as we will be having a very nice, discussion on the topic, the emotional bank account. And this morning, I'll be hosting our guest, Omolayo. She's been our facilitator so far on parenting series, and this morning on the parenting series is going to be emotional bank account. So we're going to be learning a lot. We all are humans. We've got emotions. So also our kids. Every adult today was once a child. So how do we build in these emotions? How do we build them to become healthy adults? How do we build them to become people that are compassionate, people that are empathetic, people that can relate? Very good emotional level. Everyone needs emotional stability. So it all begins with our priority decision. And the question is, what exactly are you investing today? Just like a bank account, you're either depositing or you're making withdrawal. And when you're doing neither of these, it means your account is going to be dormant. It's not going to be operational. It's not going to be fully functional. So as parents, we have a responsibility to build the emotional health of our kids. Every child deserves some kind of emotional stability. It all begins in childhood. And the big question today is, what are you investing? Are you making deposits or are you making withdrawal? And remember, it's even worse when you're doing neither of these. So this morning, our facilitator will be taking us through this question. The first one is understanding what exactly emotional bank account is all about and why is it important? Why is emotional bank account important? And why do I need to invest? Why do I need to build this? Why do I need to let it grow? All these are important questions that we shall be really dealing with today. And the second one is, how can I make emotional deposit? What is the importance? Why do we need to invest in our kids' emotion? Yes, do you know that a child that is emotionally stable turns out to be a very cooperative adult? Most children, they grow up without a proper emotional balance, and this affects their well-being. It affects their people management skills. It affects even down to their finances. It affects their self-security and their ability to cope. So when a child is emotionally stable, you are creating room, you are developing a person that is open to explore his or her talents. You are creating an individual that is open, to manage the world at large. So it's not just about I have a child. What are you building? What exactly are you developing? So it's a whole lot of work. And who is responsible for this? The parents. The parents. As far as a parent, it is your duty. It is your duty. It is your responsibility. It is your responsibility to make sure that your child is developing with the right skill set, with the right tools, with the right, capacity, and in the right environment to be able to what? To thrive, because success is as a result of the investment you have made on these kids. So it's very, very important. It is very, very important that we invest the right resources, and it takes time. It takes time to really, build this up. So it's not a one-day job. It's not that I'm doing it today and I'm giving up. You know how your normal bank account works. How does it work? You make deposits, you keep the account running, you get the right tools to make the account functional, you get your credit card, you get the debit card, you just begin to transact. So your parenting skills, your parenting decisions every day, the way you relate with your child, the way you speak, the way you build their esteem, the way you react when they make mistakes, these are all processes of building the emotional bank account of your child. It is very important. And remember, it is first your responsibility as a parent. It is your job. And nobody is coming to save you. Nobody is coming to do the job for you. It is your responsibility to build the emotional bank account of your child. You are the first point of duty. So you are setting this first and making sure you have a concrete foundation, making sure you have a concrete balance of what your child should be, helps you to make them more secure, irrespective of what they're going to be consuming from the outside. You already what have a foundation. You have invested heavily in these kids. And the big question today remains, what are you investing? Are you making deposits or you are making withdrawal? It is important, very important. It is key to grooming a very healthy adult. So while we wait for our facilitator, we'll be going through a series of questions. Anna, what are the rules to developing your kids? What are the rules to developing their potential? It is important as a parent that
Oh, great. All
I
right.
celebrate
Can
with
you
mom.
see me?
Yes, all
Celebrate
there.
where I can.
You
Okay.
are welcome.
But I can't see you.
You can see me.
Thank you. I
I
can't
can
see you.
see you clearly.
Should I exit and join again?
I can hear your sound. There's a bit of echo. Okay, it's better now. You're putting on a green top. Can you see my face?
No. Should I exit and join again?
Please. I'm going to send you an invite right away, okay?
All right.
Okay. Oh, we are waiting for our guest. It's a bit challenging with the network this morning, but everything is going to be all right. So she's going to be joining us shortly.
I can see you now
Okay,
clearly.
perfect. Wow. I celebrate you. Good afternoon, good
Good
morning.
afternoon. Good morning. Good to see you.
Wow, nice to meet you today. So, everyone, our facilitator is in the house, and this morning we are going to be continuing with our creative series, and the topic is the emotional back account. So, over to you, madam. May we know you more, your name, what you do, who you are, your passion. You are welcome once more.
Thank you very much for having me. My name is Omola. Can you hear me? You can hear
Yeah,
me
clear.
clearly, right?
Yeah, perfectly.
Okay. My name is Omolayo Ashonibare. I am a child and adolescent counselor. Then I run Olive Resources. That's the arm of business where we sell educational resources, books, novels, and the like. But most importantly, I always say that I am an advocate for healthy parent-child relationships.
Sure, yeah.
That is the bottom line of everything that I do, because the place of a healthy relationship between parent and child can never be overemphasized. I mean, if we have healthy relationships amongst in every family, would have a healthier community, would have a healthier nation by and large. So yes, thank you very
Wow,
much for
you are
having
very
me.
huh? I'm
Thank
so excited this morning.
you.
I'm so excited. So over to you, madam. I have a first question here is what exactly is emotional bank account? And why is it important in parenting? Why?
Okay, so emotional bank account is let me try to simplify it. You know the way we use finances to run the home.
Yeah.
You need anything in the home, and what you're drawing from is the financial bank account. That is what emotional bank account is. So when it comes to relationship, when you're relating with people and you're receiving positive feedbacks, or you're relating with your children, I'll streamline it to children because our focus is parenting. So when
Oh,
you're relating with your children and you're receiving negative feedbacks, or when you are giving feedbacks, either negative or positive, what you're doing is an investment in the emotional bank account of that child. So emotional bank account is more like the currency with which we trade in when it comes to relationship with our children. Their love languages, it can be positive, it can be negative.
okay.
So when we affirm, when we acknowledge, when we validate, when we invest love, then we are investing positively into it. But when we criticize, when we communicate in ways that are inappropriate or disrespectful or condescending, then what we are doing is withdrawing from the bank account, rather. And it's important that we credit the account more than we debit the account.
Okay.
So basically, in summary, that is what emotional bank account, or the concept of emotional bank account, is.
Wow, amazing, amazing. Thank you for that introduction. So I would like to take it further. So are you trying to say that there are advantages when you make more emotional deposits than withdrawal? So is it
Yes.
possible that a more secured emotion, a more balanced child, an emotionally secure child, does he have a tendency to become a more cooperative or a well-balanced adult?
Yes, because children that their emotional bank accounts are well invested in, children that feel loved, children that feel secure, children that feel safe, basically, will be more cooperative. They'll
More
be more
cooperative.
cooperative. They'll better relate with people
Okay.
because you have invested, you have connected with them. They already feel safe, they already feel loved, they already feel like there's a relationship from a healthy place. So because you are connected, it is easier to correct.
Okay.
It is easier for them to take what you say. It's easier for them to take the correction that you need them to take. It's easier for them to see things from the perspective that you need them to see, because they already have an understanding that whatever it is, this person is coming from a place of love. And so it will be easier for them to receive it from a place of safety.
Okay. So
Yes.
irrespective of who is offering this.
Yes. Yes.
I just, like, okay, this is just my own personal question right now. And it's like, so people that are lawbreakers in the society, people that cannot conform to law and order, could there be a possibility of too many emotional withdrawals? Is it possible that they are not emotionally stable, secure in themselves? Or were they raised in a toxic environment?
An average adult is a thinking adult.
Okay.
So if I do not see the essence of what you need me to do, there's a chance that I won't cooperate with it. I need to be able to see what you need me to see.
Okay.
I need to be able to buy your points. You need to be able to sell your points to me, and I should be able to buy into it. So it's possible that and then when there's a lack of this emotional balance or emotional stability as a child, it will translate into every other thing. So I won't say that 100% of uncooperative responses in the society is as a result of a low emotional bank account. It depends on a couple of other factors.
Other factors. So it's a complex mix.
Yes, it is.
Okay. Thank you very much for that. And now there's a 5-to-1 rule about emotional withdrawal and emotional deposit. I don't know. Could you give us more light on that? Because I strongly believe personally that we cannot do away with negative deposits or with withdrawals. We get it every day from the home. A child starts from the home. From the home, it goes to school. So how do we create this balance in them?
Now, I was having a conversation with my teenager yesterday about how she had handled a particular situation. And then I communicated to her that the home has to be the safest place.
Okay.
The home has to be the safest place. Your children will go to school and they will mix with all manner. Permit me to use it that way.
Yes, fine.
They would mix, they would interact, they would relate with all manner of people.
Okay.
You won't be there.
Yes, sure.
They will be bullied. You won't be there to protect them. There's a place of you teaching them how to handle bullies. Okay. But what happens when the people that are supposed to be protecting them are the ones bullying them? For example, we have teachers who are not emotionally balanced.
Sure.
We have adults in the society who are not emotionally balanced. Not forgetting that children look up to adults. They have expectations of these adults. But unfortunately, we have adults who do not have this understanding. So these children will still get bullied by these adults. They'll still get bullied by their teachers. They'll still get bullied by older students. They might possibly get bullied by their classmates. Yeah. On their way home, they would interact with a couple of other people. So they literally do not get to feel safe, absolutely safe outside the home. So the first thing we owe our children is to make sure that we create a safe environment for them. So much so that I like to use this analogy. When you're raising your child, what you're doing is you are equipping them. So there is, imagine somebody going on mountain climbing with a backpack. Okay. Now, because the mountain climbing will probably take about 3 days, you have everything you need in that backpack. You have your food, you have your water, you have anything, probably first aid, pain relief, anything you need, change of clothes, makeup, roll on, every single thing, anything, motivation, inspiration, the strength you need to carry on, because that is what we are doing when we are raising our children. We are backing their backpacks for them. We are packing their backpacks for them. So what we put into the backpack is what they will draw from when they are faced with anything in life. Yes. So when we are raising them and we are packing their backpack, it is important that is where the 5-to-1 rule comes from now. Before you criticize your child for one wrong, have you taught them? One, have they learned? Two, it is one thing for you to teach. It is another thing for them to learn. Have they understood? Three, have you tested that knowledge?
Wow, have you tested the knowledge?
After testing that knowledge, have you reinforced? You tested and saw that, okay, so there's still a knowledge gap somewhere. Let's reinforce. Because most times when we have misunderstandings, or when we do not agree with what our children did, it's basically because there's a knowledge gap somewhere. So before we begin to attack them for their wrongdoings, have we tested all of these 5 stages? That is 1. 2, have we validated them well enough? Have we invested in their emotions enough for them to understand that what we are doing is not attacking their person, but teaching them? So what we want to be sure of is that we have not left anything to chance first. So the rule of 5 to 1 is that for every 1 negative interaction, a child needs 5 positive interactions.
Wow. For every
1 negative interaction. So before you tell your child what you did is not right, before you have done this, before you have done that, why did you do this? Why did you do that? Before you do all of that, have you invested into their love languages in these 5 directions? There's no way we'll talk about emotional bank accounts without talking about the 5 love languages: acts of service, physical touch, words of affirmation, quality time, and there's a 5th, gift.
Receiving gift.
Yes, receiving gifts. So before you criticize your child for 1 mistake, have you checked that you have taught them deliberately, not assuming that you have taught them? Have you also checked that they have learned? So go through the 5 processes I mentioned, and then have you also invested enough emotional strength, enough positive emotions into them before you now come to criticize what they are doing, before giving a negative feedback, before giving a negative interaction? So that is the rule of 5 to 1.
Okay.
Now, when you do this, after you have invested all of these 5, and you come back and give a negative feedback, that is just 20% off. You still have 80% in the bank.
Okay.
You still have 80% in the bank. So the child is not feeling drained emotionally. The child has the soft landing to cushion whatever effect that has on him.
Okay.
Because you're not always going to be there, like I said. So what happens if in the heat of that something happens and you probably need to quickly go and attend to something else, and the child also, because the way we say things is not the way that children process this information. The way you say what you say is not exactly what I'm hearing. Why? In receiving information, a lot of things come to play: my personality, my love language, my learning language, my learning style, my language of communication, the way I also interpret things. So a lot of factors come into play. But if we have invested this 5 to 1 rule, by the time this child is settled within his or herself, he is able to come to terms with what you have said, and there is no room for anger. There is no room for hurt. There is no room for misinterpretation of information. In that case, it is easy for the child to come back and ask questions. Okay, so mommy, this was what you said. This was what you said. I didn't understand you when you said this before. But children that do not even have enough emotional bank account or emotional stamina, will they be able to come back and ask you questions without being resentful, agitated, coming across disrespectful, being angry? Do you understand?
Yeah.
Because if they don't have anything within, where are they drawing the emotional intelligence to communicate with?
Exactly.
Do you understand? So it's important that we balance this out.
Okay.
Now, if as an adult I have had a tough day, and then I come back and my child is talking to me and I snap at my child, does it make me right? No. But if I have invested in my child's emotional bank account, will my child be able to understand that this is a one-time thing?
Yes. Yeah.
So that is the difference.
Okay.
So it's important that we proactively and deliberately make
Okay.
this investment. It is a programming.
Okay. Wow. Amazing. Amazing. Now I have a better understanding, and I know my audience, they've got a better understanding of the 5 to 1 rule. So, from what I got now, there's always a when the investment is balanced, there's a kind of soft landing. It is easy for the child to even take a rebuke or correction when he or she
Yes.
knows that I am well loved. This is a
Yes.
one-off thing, and
Yeah.
mommy is actually correcting me. So I can see
Yeah.
that it also helps the child to be able to change a
Yeah.
particular behavior.
Yes.
Positive criticism, more of the positive than the negative. Wow, that's
Yeah.
amazing. Thank you for that. So I want to know, as parents, are there behaviors? You just talked about, for example, you coming back from work and unknowingly you snapped at the child. So
Mm-hmm.
are there behaviors that could drain our child emotional bank account? Because while you were talking, I remember something, like subtle words parents will tell their children, look at your head.
Mm.
You have a big head. You've got some, see you are not beautiful. That is actually negative. So those kind of behaviors, parents saying, I don't like this, my child, you don't know how to express yourself, you are this, you are that. So could this drain the child's emotional bank account? And what are the effects, if possible?
As parents, we are not perfect.
Wow, yes.
Excuse
I like that.
me. What makes the difference is how we continue to learn to improve ourselves.
Mm.
The first example I gave is probably you feel stressed and then you come back and you snap at your child or you're yelling at. There are mistakes we make. We are not going to dwell on our mistakes, but before making those mistakes, what can we do so that when we make the mistakes, because those mistakes are not deliberate, yes,
Sure,
but
sure.
we can deliberately prepare a soft landing for ourselves as parents, because that is what investing in your child's emotional bank account is. Giving yourself a soft landing, giving yourself points to be considered for. Okay, so mommy made a mistake. Yes, she's not always like that. Maybe, in fact, the child will be the one excusing you. Okay, mommy, I understand you're tired. I'll come back when you feel better. Because the child understands that on a normal day, my mommy is not like that. On a normal
Yes,
day, my daddy doesn't yell. Do you understand? So
yes.
when those mistakes come, our children understand. Now, what are those mistakes? The first I talked about is yelling or snapping at our children.
Wow,
When we yell at them,
really?
it makes them feel very afraid. It
Okay.
creates an atmosphere of fear rather than understanding. So even though you are communicating as you're trying to communicate, because in the real sense, what we are doing when we are yelling is not communicating.
Yes, you are
The
lashing
child
out.
just begins to feel very afraid and very uncomfortable.
Yeah, yeah.
Nobody learns in fear. Even we as adults, we don't learn in fear. We don't thrive in fear. There is not going to be any understanding. So one of the mistakes we make as adults or as parents is yelling at our children. Another one we do a lot, especially in this part of the world, is sarcasm. Sarcasm
So
is
what?
not a language of communication,
Okay, most of us
especially
are,
for
including
sorry.
me. I said most of us are guilty of it based on
Yes,
our cultural background and the
yes,
society itself. Yeah.
yes. But sarcasm is not a language of communication. I
Okay.
remember how when we were little and your mom would say, go and get me a cup of water, and then you bring it and you're like, mommy, take, and she tells you, put it on my head.
Yes, yes, yes.
So now you gave an instruction. If that child should do it, you will beat the living daylight out of that child for doing it.
Okay.
But children don't understand sarcasm.
But we do it. So we do
We
it.
do it. It's not an appropriate language of communication. So we are
Okay.
either communicating or we are confusing them.
Okay.
So now, if you have been able to successfully invest in your children's emotional bank account,
Mm.
when you do it, right now what my daughter does is once she sees that I give her a sarcastic response, she just looks at me and goes, mommy, she's just 6.
Imagine.
She's just 6. But she just looks at me and if she shakes her head, and I'm not exaggerating. She still did it this morning. She would look at me and then shake her head and laugh and walk away. We are not perfect. We are learning, but I mean, we are saying it's the mistakes that we make. So sarcasm, yelling. Another one is criticism or comparison. Can't you be like your brother? Can't you be like, no, he cannot. She cannot be like her brother. They are two different people.
Exactly.
Even if all your children are girls, no two individuals are the same.
Sure.
In my okay, so I have 3 girls. One is a teenager, and then 2 younger ones. You see those 2, even though they are close together, very amazing girls, but they are completely different. 100%.
Yes.
One is very calm, quiet, relaxed. You can have a proper conversation with her and she would get your point.
Very well, no problem.
I have a strong-willed child.
Yes, I think I was not that one.
that even after you think you have explained and she's saying, okay, by the time you are done, she's still coming back to ask you why.
Mommy, why?
And you must answer. And because I said so is not a reason.
Yeah.
So if you now want to begin to compare, you'll be tempted to treat one child better than the other. That way you would be robbing one child as well.
Wow, amazing.
So sarcasm, comparison, criticism. Look at the way you did this thing. Is that how your mates are doing it? I don't understand. Is it you that born her mate? Are you the parents to her mate?
Imagine.
So before we criticize our children, let's be sure that we have deliberately done what we need to do. Another mistake we make is ignoring their feelings.
Ignoring their feelings, wow.
Ignoring their feelings. They come to you and say, Mommy, I fell there, and say, go and play, sorry. No, don't just discard their feelings like that. Pay attention to, it's not because you're going to remove them from what they are doing, but just validate. Sorry, you fell, sorry, come, let me see, show me. The truth is, when you touch it, the pain will not stop automatically, but they feel seen.
Yeah.
They feel heard. They feel safe. That is what they are looking for.
Yeah.
Another thing is overreacting to their mistakes. Your child makes one mistake, and then instead of addressing it there and then, another one we are guilty of, instead of addressing that mistake,
we
keep piling it up. And then you will now be telling the child that wait until your cup is full. Why are you waiting for the cup to full?
Oh, exactly.
Why are we waiting for the cup to full? If you feel like if you address it at that time, you won't handle it well, then wait it out. But come back and address it. Instead of piling it up and waiting for your child. Do you know parents deliberately set traps for their children?
Yes, of course. Yes, they do that. Just waiting for the big mistake to blow the cover up. Yeah.
So, for instance, you drop a cup here and you're saying, nobody should touch this cup. And when you come back, you see that your child has touched it. You know the person that touched it. Yeah. And then you now come back to ask, who touched this cup? There's no point asking. Just address, why did you touch this cup? But I told you not to. Because the moment you begin to ask, who touched it, you are creating an avenue for the child to lie.
Exactly.
Don't create an avenue for your children to lie. Don't create an avenue for them to feel like they need to defend or protect themselves against you.
Yes.
So, back to our conversation, overreacting when they make mistakes. Now, if you keep piling up their mistakes, you would overreact. It could be that it's just water that will spill on the floor and you end up beating the child. Maka, why? Because you have piled up anger, reason. And when you now beat the child, you now beat that child in anger. That's when you beat the child and the child is wondering, is it because I poured water away?
water.
Just water that I poured away, or is there something else I did? Do you understand?
Yes.
So these are mistakes that we make as parents.
Wow, wow, amazing, amazing, amazing. This is amazing. In fact, you just delved into one that most of us, maybe including myself, I'm a bit guilty. That sarcasm, is a part of every one of us, and I know the audience they are listening. So it's not really healthy. It's not healthy because, like you rightly said, you are confusing the child. You are creating a kind of communication clash. They don't know what you mean when you make sarcasm. So thank you so much for that. So how can we deposit the right emotion on a daily basis? What practical examples as a parent can we do
Now,
a deposit?
when it comes to depositing into our children's emotional bank accounts, it's important. I would basically sum this up in five sentences. The first thing you want to do is, when you are communicating, watch your tone. Be
Watch your tone.
deliberate. Use warm tones. If you know that if you talk about this thing, you would be yelling at the top of your voice, remove yourself from the situation and come back to it.
Yes, just walk away. Yes.
Deliberately use warm tones. That way your child feels very safe.
Okay, so not yelling, not shouting.
Not yelling. Warm tone. So instead of going, why are you taking so much time on this thing that you're doing? You can come, okay, so I see that you're trying your best, but then is there an aspect you're struggling with that you need help?
Okay. So how can we be in this mood? Or I think there's been a kind of technical, disconnect. We're just gonna wait till the network,
Can you hear me? Can
comes
you see
through.
me?
Yes, it's better now. It's better now.
Okay. Another thing is spend quality time with them.
Okay.
Invest in their emotions.
Okay.
Invest in the first thing I said was use warm tones when you're communicating with them. Spend quality time with them. Invest in their emotions.
Okay.
Use all 5 love languages until you are sure what your child's love language is.
Okay.
So use all 5 love languages. Validate their feelings when they come to you. Don't be quick to shut them down. Pay attention to how they feel per time. When they come to you and they complain about certain things, beyond what they are saying, listen to what the underlying issue is. That is how you would be able to help them. Be affectionate towards them.
Affectionate.
When you're affectionate towards them, you're scoring more points. You are scoring more points.
Okay.
Also, when they do things, instead of praising the result, you want to acknowledge the effort. Mommy, see, I scored 10 over 10. Oh, that's amazing. I love that you paid attention to your studies. I love that you took time to read for your exam. I love that you paid attention to your assignment.
Okay.
So it is not just the 10 over 10. It is not the 20 over 20. It is not the 100 over 100. It is the effort that they put into what they did.
Okay.
Celebrate their efforts, not just the results. So if we are able to do all of this, the child feels seen. And that way you are scoring more points. So you are not waiting for an avenue to come up and you are investing. You are deliberately investing in their emotions.
Wow, amazing, amazing. I can see these behaviors. They are quite simple, but like you rightly said, we need to be intentional.
Intentional.
Conscious efforts, because every
Yes.
day we have opportunities to deposit in their emotions, but it's up to us to own it and do it. That's amazing. Thank you so much. And now I've got a really concern. There's been cases even here in my own environment, there's been cases of children who say, I do not like my mom because all she does is she's always yelling, she's annoying, she's irritating. These are young kids, teenagers, using those languages. So maybe as a parent, and your child is saying so, could it be that you have done so many withdrawals, more withdrawals than deposit? And if it is so, how do you correct these mistakes that you have made?
You know, as parents, like I said, we are not perfect.
Sure.
When you are stressed, you've had a tough day, you've had a lot of the same way your children go to school and come back overwhelmed.
Okay.
That is how adults, we too, go out and we come back overwhelmed. The difference is most times we are not self-aware.
Okay.
So because we are not self-aware, we don't even know that we need some time to ourselves to recoup.
Okay.
So after you have seen that you have dumped all of the negative energy on your children, after you have seen that you have made these mistakes, after you have seen that you have had this impact or this effect on your children, the first thing you want to do is acknowledge that you have made a mistake.
Wow. Acknowledge that you have made a mistake.
Acknowledge it.
Okay.
Have that conversation with your children. If your focus is that you want to deliberately start investing in their emotions, you want to work on how to best make them feel seen, heard, and safe, have the conversation with them. So in time past, I see that call your child and tell your child, okay, so Claire, in time past, I see that most times when you do this, I yell at you a lot. I honestly don't like that I yell at you. And I also know that it doesn't make you feel comfortable that I do that. When I do that, I know that it also doesn't make you feel loved. I want to be able to do better.
Okay.
And I am sorry. Apologize. Children are angry at their parents most times because parents don't apologize to them.
Verbally.
Apologize. Acknowledge that you were wrong. Be ready to make amends. Let your child see that you're taking steps to make amends. Apologize. And then ask them, what can I do to make you feel loved? Don't assume that you know what your child needs.
Amazing. Yeah. Don't assume.
If your child is old enough, ask them, what can I do to make you feel loved? What are those things I have done?
Okay.
That made you feel hurt? Or what are those things I did that hurt you? You're going to have to own it, own your mistakes. Let your children see, because when we do that, we're also teaching them to own their mistakes. So that way it's easy for them to make mistakes and come back.
Okay. Yeah.
So when we create that avenue, they also learn. So acknowledge the mistakes, apologize sincerely. You are not apologizing and saying, but you know that is you.
Yes, yeah.
Apologize from the place of you realize the impact of what you have done on them and you're willing to make amends.
Okay.
Now, after you have had this conversation with them, deliberately make deposits in their emotional bank accounts. Continue to. Now, in that case, because you know you have a goal, even when they make a mistake, you are not coming to condemn. You don't even have a place for the 5-to-1 rule. Your focus is another 5. Another 5. Does it mean you would overlook the mistake? No. It means that you want to understand what happened that led to that mistake.
Okay. Amazing.
Until you are sure that they are in a safe place. Until you are sure that they now feel loved. Until you are sure that they now feel seen. They now feel safe. Then it's easier to come from that angle.
So for the parents that ask that question, first you need to admit that you have made a mistake, and you need to apologize sincerely without fault finding or try to throw the blame. Then you need to ask the child, how can I do better? What do I need to do? And you continue to deposit. So that is amazing. So our coach here, she has just made us to realize that as parents, we make mistakes and there is room for improvement. If and only you can admit it, that I can do better at this. Thank you very much for that. So, what is the biggest lessons that parents should take home this afternoon? In all you have said, what do you think we should take home and build on?
On our parenting journey, our focus is not perfection.
Wow.
The
Not
goal
perfect.
is consistency.
Amazing.
If
Amazing.
what you are able to do is deliberately investing in their emotions, one act a day, consistently, like I said, whatever you give to them is packing their backpack.
Wow,
If
yes.
you every single day make deliberate efforts to pack their backpack with life lessons, that is what will help them. So the goal is not perfection. The goal is consistency in what you do. If what you're able to do is 5 minutes of quality time with them, 10 minutes of quality time with them, not on your terms, but on their terms.
Okay.
What game can we play? Let them be the ones to decide what they want you to do in spending time with them. What game do you want us to play? Or are we going outing? You can plan a schedule together. If, for instance, children are going on holiday in the next couple of weeks in this part of the world, don't be the one saying, this is what I want you to do for the holiday. Come up with a holiday plan together.
Plan it.
Draw up a schedule. Let them be actively involved. Like I said, my children are still young, but we draw up our holiday plans together. We discuss where we want to visit. Sometimes I bring this up to them and say, okay, so we've not gone to this place and I'm thinking we can go. On their own, they will decide, okay, let's go to this place. Then we go to another place some other time. That's fine. The focus is learning. And I'm not going to teach them anything by shoving it down their throats. They have to also be able to receive it. So the focus is consistency, not perfection.
Consistency.
Consistency.
Wow, wow, wow. That's
The
amazing.
same way you're not perfect as a parent, your child is not perfect.
Yes.
But consistency in teaching, consistency in investing in their emotions. This is what the focus should be.
Wow. Thank you so much. You have heard from our guest. She said consistency. So parents out there, she rightly said the kids will be going on holiday in 2 weeks. Hope you don't have plans to put them in extra, what do they call it? Is it extramural
Extramural
lesson?
classes.
Imagine. It's good, but they should have, freedom to decide or make choices. With this, you are also investing in what their emotional back account.
Their emotions.
Wow,
Yes.
amazing, amazing. I learned a lot. The 5-to-1 rule, I am going to build on it and see how I can be a better parent. It's not about just being a better spouse or a better colleague. We tend to ignore these kids because we think they are small and they don't matter. But thank you for that, Mrs. I have learned my lessons and I promise you I'm going to be productive. And I trust that the audiences out there, they have learned a lot today. Thank you so much. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
To celebrate you.
Thank you for
Please do
having
well
me.
to follow at Olive Resource 23. She's passionate about parenting. She's got materials on children, adolescents, and she's got a lot of fantastic games. Do you want to tell us briefly about your products, what you do, those
Okay.
nice stuff I see around?
Thank you. So in Olive Resources, what we do is we curate. We don't just sell. We
Okay.
curate educational resources.
Okay.
So when you reach out to us and you want learning resources, for instance, we'll create educational resources. We
Wow.
create resources for children. We'll
Okay.
ask you the age of your children. We'll ask you what their
Amazing.
learning styles are. We'll make recommendations based on the personality of your child and also based on their age.
Age. Okay.
So we ask a couple of questions and then on whatever budget you would want us, we would work with any budget that you want us to work with and we make deliveries across. So we sell games, we sell flashcards, we sell board games, card games, education, puzzles. In fact, we recommend puzzles a lot of times because there are lots of skills that solving puzzles will teach.
Okay.
Problem solving, critical thinking, time management,
Time
how
management.
to handle pressure, resilience. So
Resilience.
most people think that puzzle is too, whatever people's excuses are for not solving puzzles. It's a resource that is actually very undermined. We just think children, they will misplace these pieces. No,
No, no, no.
even the little pieces that they have left, it can still be fused together. So when children grow up and they are struggling with making decisions, solving puzzles help in decision making as well. They are able to trust their thinking process. So it is
Yeah.
not when they grow up into adulthood that
That they begin to learn that. I
them
think
to
there's
make life, sorry about that.
okay.
It's not when they grow up and become adults that we're expecting them to make life determining decisions. No, we should begin to create avenues for them to make these decisions from now on. That is easy for them to transition. So that's what we do in Olive Resources.
Wow, you have heard from the lady herself. She says age appropriate life, I call it life set tools for problem solving, resilience, people management, time management, pressure, and the rest. Thank you so much, Mother. We are really blessed. We are treated, we have learned, so we are going to relearn or learn. And in fact, we are going to apply because that is the most important. Thank you for joining us today. We celebrate you as usual. God bless you.
Amen. Thank you so much for having me.
Bye, Ma. Thank you.
Bye. Have a great day.
You too. Amazing. That was a nice session with Mrs. Omolayo, a parenting and adolescent, enthusiastic. She's very passionate about parenting journey. So thank you for joining us live today. We look forward to having another session in April, and I want to believe that you've got a lot of not just information but wisdom to be applied in your parenting journey. Till we meet again, I remain your host, Rosemary Onoyiwaka Ilegua. Thank you and bye for now.